Welcome, welcome. Hi, everybody. I'm setting up still, and so let's listen to the background music, the intro music, while I get things set up in the studio here in the small town of Bye City, Leyte, Philippines. Hey, everybody, thank you for sharing it out. Menge, thank you. Thank you, Crystals. Thank you all. Anna Mae Reyes. Thank you, everyone, for the birthday wishes. I truly appreciate it. Oh, scared myself. We are live with Dan and Minnie's Journey. Live from the basement studios located a few steps away from the heart of Bye City, Leyte and the Dunkin' Donuts. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you may be in the world. This is Dan coming to you live. Happy birthday to me! Yahoo! All right. Hey, how is everybody today? Or this evening? Or this afternoon? How's it going to all my friends in the Philippines and the US and around the world, from Australia to Europe to Norway to Iceland and Pampanga, Angeles City? Tim, are you in the house? Laurice was first, always first some kind of way. Thank you for sharing it out. I hope you were able to hear me. And I got my headphones on. I don't know if they're going to work or not. I'm trying to see if I could dial in my hearing a little bit better. I'm kind of wearing them upside down. I hope you don't mind that. Let's start off by inviting Jack Hobson is in the house, and then when Jack says something, I'll know if the hearing aids are working. Jack. Oh, they work. Oh, it's a miracle. This Walmart computer, you just never know. Jack, you just never know what's going to happen. If you were to see this little corner of the room that I'm broadcasting from, it's kind of weird because I'm stuffed in a corner and I got blue painter's tape everywhere holding everything together. For example, if the walls decide to sweat from the humidity, my camera most likely will fall off the wall because it's being held on there with blue painter's tape from Home Depot. Anyway,
everything's thinking by
I notice it when I do replays on these live streams that I end up buffering a lot, and so I still have a buffering problem. But some of my friends have told me, no, Dan, it's probably that StreamYard is sucking so much juice, so much bandwidth, and if you have a lot of devices hooked up at the same time, you're going to get the buffering. Now, Jack, you probably heard me say that I had put in a new, another slave what do they call that? Routers. I put a slave router. It's also taped up here at the wall with blue tape. Anyway, but I get a great signal. I'm getting great speed. I'm getting great bandwidth up and down. But for some reason, I keep buffering, and I don't know what to do about it. What do you think? When I was in the living room or when I was in the bedroom closer to the main router, I wasn't getting so many buffering incidents. So I don't know.
Mhm.
What do you think?
Yeah, I don't know if it's. I don't know. My I'm gonna turn off my Wi-Fi on my phone because I don't know if I'm buffering. You're buffering. I have no idea. Here we go. Shut that off.
You're kind of just like moving like you're getting like you're doing this like this. But the sound is good. But you're like, that's my view. Sort of like what was that guy's name? That robot character on TV that they had on there for a while, kind of like that, moving around like this. Max Headroom, I think, was the name. They had a television show, Max Headroom, and Max Headroom was on for a while. That's kind of pausing every once in a while. But hey, what can you do? You can't do anything about it, right? Hey, and by the way, this microphone here, this is just a prop. I actually have my other microphone sitting here in front of me a little bit closer. Am I coming through okay? Can you guys hear me okay? Testing 1 2 3. Testing 1 2 3. Is that too loud? Thank you, Mel.
No.
Melanie, thank you so much. It was so nice to be over at your place yesterday and meet and see you and Des and Jason again, and the feeding with the kids, and you guys doing all that work cooking up the spaghetti and the fried chicken, which was delicious, by the way, or it looked delicious. I didn't have any because by the time I got over there, I'd already had too many snacks. But we were able to feed how many kids? There were a lot of trays of food there. That's all I know. And so what we did was, in honor of my 66th birthday, we went ahead and put on a feeding program, or I sponsored the monthly feeding program there in Caridad for the kids. And we had a great time there. The kids were having a good time over there. It was nice seeing all the beautiful smiles on everybody's faces, on the little ones' faces, and a few of the adults too. Randall Zook is in the house. Thank you so much, Randall, for coming in and wishing me happy birthday. I appreciate it. Mamini's doing fine. She's in the other room. We have some workers here today that are, I'm not sure what we're having them do. Whenever Mamini gets itchy, she just calls up the workers and she says to me, I'm going to have them come over to do some work. Des, it was beautiful. I think if you go into YouTube, you're going to see Des had already posted a video on the preparation of the food for the feeding program. It was great. Thanks so much, especially the banner. I was really surprised to see them. I know it's tradition to do the banner in the Philippines so that you have something, a souvenir of the event. So it's really nice. It was really, really nice. Mike,
don't forget to bring your Tupperware.
Yeah, that's right. Well, I don't think I'm not sure if there was leftover food. There probably was. They kept saying, "Hey Dan, you want to snack on something? I got some spaghetti, something over here." And I was like, "Oh no, I'm full." But there probably were leftovers. Nicole's in the house. Happiest birthday, Sir Dan. Enjoy your day. Thank you so much, Nicole. And Mike, hey Joe, it'll be fun, Mike, when you get over here. We could banter back and forth about some ideas I have based on my experience of building this home, even though it was done virtually. I don't know if you know it, Jack, but I was not here during the building of this house. I was actually I was supervising virtually from Sacramento, so I would have somebody over here, and there would be sometimes even 2 or 3 people. And they'd have the cameras going, and then I'd fire up the computer, and then they would be showing me all what was going on with the building of the house, all on through the telephone, through the cell phone and the computer. So if I saw something that
cool.
caught my attention, then I would say, "Oh, over there we got to do this. Over there we got to do that, you guys." And I didn't interfere too much because I figured that, they've been building houses for years and years and years. There's nothing I need to tell them about building a hollow block house because they do it better than anybody in the world. The Philippines here.
Mm-hmm.
So I didn't interfere that way, except I mitigated certain things that I thought could happen in the future by, telling them, "Oh, why don't you use number 6 blocks for the exterior?" And then that'll ensure that we're using a little bit more concrete inside the hollow block.
Mm-hmm.
So if we get a weak mix of hollow block, then it could be somewhat compensate for that by using thick rebar and extra cement. I kind of did that. I kind of stayed out of the way. Other than that, I mean, I know I raised some eyebrows even saying that to some people. Tim's in the house. Tim, how's it going? How's life in the big city of Pampanga?
Hollow blocks.
If I were here, I would. I'm sorry, I missed the whole thing. Jack, say it again.
I think mine's made up with the 11, 12 peso hollow blocks. They can just like grab with their hand, just break it.
Yeah, I just figured that I could mitigate that problem that we might have by using number 6s, because then it would require more cement to go into the holes, and then add extra rebar. If I were there myself, if I were there during the time of the building of the house, then I would have figured out a way to do what do they call it? Solid structure, solid concrete, all Portland cement, no hollow block. But they wouldn't have understood. They wouldn't have understood how to cast, and I don't know enough about it to be able to show them how to cast concrete, and that would have opened up a whole bunch of can of worms. But notwithstanding that sort of construction, my secondary idea would have been to build the first 4 feet or 5 feet of the house in concrete hollow block, and then go up from there with soft materials. And I'm not sure that would have been a good idea, but I might have tried it because I like a combination of a modern and traditional house. So that's kind of how I would have tried to approach it. But anyway, it is what it is. I haven't noticed any cracks in the hollow block, and so I'm happy about that. Yeah, we got a strong and sturdy structure. Thank you, everybody, for the birthday wishes. Mark is here. Anna Mae Reyes is here. Mike from Hey Joe is here. You can't say hey in the Philippines. Tim's here. Menge is here. Mel. Crystal's Adventure. Crystal's caught my attention because Crystal's understood how important it is to be growing food. More important than at any time during your life, even in period of time of where you didn't have much food to eat. You have to start growing food. You have to start growing food. I can't make you start growing food. I can't go over there and, oh, there you are. I can't go over there and force you to grow food. But I'm telling you that we have to mitigate the high price of food. And the only way you can do that is start growing cucumbers, potatoes, onions, garlic, ginger, all those things that are getting to be very, very expensive. It wouldn't hurt to have a few chickens hanging around so that they can lay eggs for you. You need some chicken laying egg hens. And so you want to mitigate the high cost of food for enjoyment of life. And so, Jack, I'm really shocked because I've gone into other folks' website, and they're just now starting to talk about the high costs of food and housing, the rising costs. And I do believe one of the first people to start talking about it, and I was getting made fun of a little bit. But I noticed that when you stop selling this dream about how the Philippines is one of the cheapest places to live in the world, which is basically true, it is. I'm not disputing that, but I just noticed that as people start talking about their game-changing things happening for expats in the Philippines, their views start to go down. Their views start to go down. All of a sudden, guys that were getting 3 and 4K views on their channels are now getting something like 1.5, 1.6 views. Tim, thank you for the birthday wishes. Thank you, everyone. Des, you and Mel, I really appreciate you guys taking the time to cook the food and put together the feeding program over there in Caridad. Bye Bye City Leyte. It was a pleasure sponsoring that. And I mostly don't celebrate my birthday, folks. I'm not sure exactly why. I guess I just don't like to be reminded of how old I am. I'm not sure why that is, but anyway. All right. So, what's going on today? What are we going to be talking today? I don't see Larry Lee hanging around. I don't see Leonard from Houston, Texas. Oh, I know what I wanted to mention. I wanted to mention that my friend Hans, who we were worried about, finally showed up. The other day. And you got to reset the modem. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and when you're ready to come back up, we'll when you get it all squared away, we'll reset everything. Put you backstage. All right, so Hans did show up. My friend Hans from Norway, not Iceland, like Finn Snow, Tim. My friend Hans from Norway did show up, and he'd been suffering from bronchitis. Said he had a really, really bad case of it, but he was able to remedy it by going and seeing the herbalist here in the Philippines. And then he said that once he started taking the magic potion that was recommended by the herbalist, everything cleared up almost as quickly as it came upon him. So Hans is doing okay. He didn't look like he'd been ill at all when I saw him in the Dunkin' the other morning, so I was happy about that. What are we talking about? Oh, we're talking about the world according to Dan. So I was started talking about housing, and I started talking about how there's Jack. Started talking about how things are getting a little bit more expensive. So I was in a live stream for a little while, right? A guy from Thailand who I go into his live stream once in a while. I think this is his only or second or third live stream. His website is called Roaming Hogan, and he right now is in Thailand using he's using his home base as Thailand right now, but he travels all over Southeast Asia, and he used to date what's her name in Cebu, Mel Jean. That's it. He used to date Mel Jean. How could I forget her name? So he was dating Mel Jean, and they're doing a lot of videos together. But now they decide to go their separate ways, and he does live stream. And so I asked him a question. I said, "Hey, Roaming Hogan," I said, "does it seem like to you that it's getting more expensive to get an apartment and pay for food in Thailand than in the Philippines?" Because I believe that is true. I just wanted to ask a question. I think I worded it correctly. Does it seem like to you? And he goes off saying, he says, "Oh, what are you kidding me? I got this beautiful, luxurious apartment for $330 per month." And he kind of like, you can see the apartment in the background, and it does look spectacular. It's a studio apartment, I think, or 1 bedroom. But it's more spacious than the one man Minnie and I just rented in Cebu, in Lagum. Lagum? How do you say it? Lahug? Lahook? Lahook. It's spelled lahug, like give me a great big hug. Lahug. Lahook, I guess you pronounce it, something like that. Anyway, but I think, give me a great big hug, give me a great big hug. Lahug. So anyway, his apartment's bigger than that, and it's in it looks like a pretty bougie place, when you look outside the window. So I don't know how far he is from the center of Bangkok, but it's $330 per month. But here's the whole thing. What happened to the $150 per month apartments? Because I just got through looking for one and I couldn't find one. They're asking for ridiculous money here in the Philippines. So he commented, Romy Hogan, he commented, he said that, are you kidding me? Look at the life I'm living here. $330 a month for this apartment. And I was like, yeah, that's true. It's a nice apartment. When you compare it to where he comes from, his home country of Ireland, and compared to what we're paying rents in the United States, $1,800, $2,000 a month for a decent place. Yeah, it blows it away by comparison. But what happened to the $150 studio apartments that we were finding both in Thailand and the Philippines, because I was there post-COVID, post-2019, I think was my last trip abroad when I was in the Philippines and Thailand. And there's no problem finding a place for $150 US American money per month. So what happened, Jack? What happened to that?
It might have been from the C word.
Yeah, but
people are losing money because nobody's living in their apartments and stuff. But back home, I was paying like the last apartment I was in years ago was like $600 a month.
$600 a month. That was where, in the States?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Up by.
There are parts of the country. It's just like any place, right? It depends. For example, if you go way out, away from the city of Cebu, the city center, you're going to find a place, no problem, for $150 a month or less. We know people that are living large on the $100 a month apartments, but listen, you get what you pay for. It's going to be way out there. You may enjoy it. Until the big event occurs.
Mm-hmm.
And then you end up in some clinic somewhere, or where the doctor goes, I don't know what's going on here. He has to go to Cebu. Somebody call an ambulance. I don't know what's going on here. He's got to go to Cebu. And then, yeah, that's just a fact, right? That's just a fact. That
more than the doctor.
Yeah, what I mean? But if you're lucky enough, you're near a hospital or clinic where somebody knows what they're doing, hey, party on. And you're only paying $50 or $60 or $100 a month for an apartment, I'm happy for you. But somebody, so I made that statement, and of course he made fun of me, saying, not fun of me, he was nice. He said, well, what are you talking about? I got this apartment here for $330 per month. But I looked, and I could not find a decent place for any less than what we're paying, what we signed a lease for, $250 per month, American money. And I was happy to get it. It's got everything we need. Comes with cable. Yeah, it comes with cable TV, comes with internet as part of the deal. 50 up, 50 down. Yeah. Wow. Yeah. They only bill on water and electric, and the electric is on a meter, and they're charging something like 14 pesos per kilowatt hour, which I found to be reasonable. So you got so we're going to probably have to live with a $10 or $15 water bill per month, and most likely 1,500 peso to 2,000 peso electric bill. Okay. But I'm 8 minutes away from Changhua Hospital. I am only 10-minute jeepney ride during rush hour traffic to Ayala, and a 10 or 15-minute walk if I care to walk, which I don't. No, not yet. I'm retired. 10 or 15-minute walk during rush hour, going at a very slow pace, I might add, to IT Park and Ayala if I wanted to walk. But I don't. I'd rather just sit in rush hour traffic in a Jeep and enjoying my life. Tim says landlords are trying to recoup the loss they had during the pandemic. Yeah, so Tim, Jack, I looked it up. So I started looking around. So the first thing I did was, of course, I'm always trying to make my point about the cost of living in the Philippines being less expensive than Thailand, but still going up, because after all, they have an 8 or 9% inflation rate here. And so I went and I did my research. I discovered that they're saying these websites that I like, these websites that are online that gather up these statistics. I'm at a loss at the moment to remember the specific one that I found to be impressive, but I'll find it. They're talking about it's 20% more expensive to live in the metropolitan area when you compare in Thailand, when you compare Bangkok to Manila. But in the Philippines in general, it's 20%. It costs 20% more to live in Thailand. And so I think the smoke and mirrors here is that people get hypnotized by the street food. They get hypnotized.
I just walked by it.
Listen to my voice. Listen to my voice. But I was there. I should know what it costs to live there. I was there for 2 months. I know, man, Minnie and I know. Hey, if you want to recoup your losses, there's that economic philosophy that I have, right? And that is that more and more of less and less is more, equals more. Always has, always will be. So if you have a vacancy for 3 or 4 months, so you're Mr. Landlord, right, Tim? You're sitting there and going, oh yeah, I got to recoup my losses. I think I'll jack up the rent, an additional $50 per month. And then because you did that, it stays vacant 8 months out of the year, 8 months or 4 months. Let's just say 4 months out of the year. That costs you $200 in rent revenue.
Yep.
Tim, you see where I'm going with this? So it's weird the way they do math here. It's like math magic here in the Philippines. Because I would rather have the place rented for the entire year at fair market price than try to jack up the rent an additional $50 per month and then have it vacant for 4 months out of every 12. And that is what money. You're losing money. See, that is what the gal that we rented this apartment from told us. She said, we have 21 units in here. They're like lofts. They're built into a commercial building. And we have lofts in here. We have 21 units. Half of them are vacant. And then she smiled and said, but we do Airbnb. But Airbnb, when I checked that, I discovered the Airbnb vacancy rate, or occupancy rate is a better way to put it, is running at only 60%. And why? Why, Tim? Why is that happening? Tim, why are people paying 700 pesos for a loaf of bread when they can bake their own? It'll be more delicious and healthier for you. Thank you for the birthday wishes, everybody. Oh, it's bringing tears to my eyes. So bread got to be to the point where it was so expensive, I would simply just stop buying it. I would bake my own bread. I would figure out a way to bake it, or I would just stop eating bread. There you go. Yeah, Pandesal is only 5 pesos. You go to the right bakery, right, Jack?
Mm-hmm.
If you go to the right bakery,
it may be cheaper.
You're gonna get it for 5 pesos.
There's one guy that drives around his motor. The sidecar is like an oven and storage for the hot Pandesal.
Yeah. Oh, that's a brilliant idea.
And I'm good.
hey, Jack. You know what reminds me of when we were kids? We had bakery delivery. I don't know if you. I don't think you're old enough for this.
I'm only 41.
Yeah. So 66 today, Philippines date and time. We used to have this place. It was called. Look it up on Google because, folks, if you Google it, you're going to see it. Helms Bakery Delivery. Helms Bakery. HELMS. If you put in there Helms Bakery, Los Angeles, then all these pictures are going to come up of a 49 Chevrolet van. And then inside there, they have these drawers that built in. They have these drawers built into the step van. And that,
that van.
yeah, and as kids, this truck would be coming around the corner to the house. I was born in 57. So this truck would be coming around the corner of the house, and we would all be running out there. Mommy, can we get some donuts now? They had a charge set up where you can charge it. So if it was like in between paydays and stuff like that, my mom could go out there and she could say, yeah, I guess we can get some donuts today. And the driver would come out and open up the back doors of those step van, and this beautiful, beautiful smell would come out, right? The smell would just like hit you in the face. Oh my God, I was in heaven. Fresh donuts, fresh brownies. Grandpa Jim from Sacramento. Grandpa Jim, do you remember Helms Bakery? Thank you for the birthday wishes, Jim.
I'm sure you were around when was it the milk delivery guy?
The milkman. There are a lot of jokes around the milkman. The milk delivery. But we don't have to worry about the milkman, the milk delivery driver sleeping with our girlfriends or our wives, right, Jack? Because they got no milk in the Philippines.
It's like the mailman.
Yeah. So Des is having a premiere. If you guys want to bounce over, I don't know if she started all right or she ended it. But I should have said, Des, go over. I should have said, everybody, quick, get over to Des's premiere. And I didn't do it. I do apologize. Thank you, everybody. Mildred, Grandpa Jim. Thank you, everybody, for the birthday wishes. I appreciate it. Hey, Joe. Oh yeah, you can't say hey in the Philippines. All right, so the world according to Dan is what this is all about, but it's the Philippine world according to Dan. And so as Jack knows, or Jack, maybe you would admit it, maybe not, I don't know. Maybe I am dreaming. Maybe I truly am living in my own world, but every single day I get up and I go outside, I see the United States. I get up and I go outside, I see the United States on my doorstep. What do you think of that statement?
Probably the same, because I'm just like so used to being here. Like I'm like back home in the States. It's like wake up, make a cup of coffee, go outside. Until
excellent point. You just made a home run point. The more time you spend here, the more it seems like home. And so that could be what I'm feeling. That could be exactly what I'm feeling. Every single day that goes by that I'm here, I feel like it's home.
In me, I don't pay attention to what day it is. What day of the week it is.
What day is it, by the way? What day is it, Jack?
I can look on the computer. Well, it's 2023.
All right. So in the Philippines, I do believe it's Monday, and that's because the workers don't come on the weekend. So I saw them outside. That means it's got to be a weekday, and that's how I know it's Monday.
I don't use the Celsius because I'm looking at my computer again, cheating again. It's 82 degrees Fahrenheit. I don't go with Celsius.
Well, I'm starting to get used to. Well, here in the Philippines, it's kind of weird, Jack. Have you seen this? Sometimes it'll be in meters, and sometimes it'll be in feet.
Yeah.
See, yeah, it's kind of weird. It's kind of strange, right? Because like a number 6 hollow block, they mean that's a 6-inch hollow block. A number 4 is that 4-inch hollow block. Well, where'd they get that from? They got that from military construction of the barracks. I mean, that's really where it came from. Oh no, we don't know nothing about. We're using inches here. We're using inches. Mark is in the house. Mark, thanks so much for coming. Crystals, if you don't already have that, Crystals and Mark, if you don't already have that garden growing, everybody in this chat, you need to start planting your victory garden. You need to start doing it today. So we planted tomatoes and eggplant, and we got some a whole bunch of stuff growing. Tomatoes, eggplant, onions. Even though the onions might not take, they'll be in the ground. Those seeds will be in the ground. So I didn't feel like I was at home when I was in the States last time. Excellent point, Tim. Tim, when Man Minnie and I, when we head back to the States, we're in and out. We're in and out. We're in and out. We're going to be stealthy. We're just going to land. Boop, go see mom. Go see kids. Go see family. Get in, get out. Back on the plane.
I ended up coming here years ago. It's probably about a little bit over 3 years in November time, but came here for a month. Found out my stepfather passed away. My mom's like, I don't know. So I was here for a month and stayed in Michigan for a month. Been back here ever since.
Wow. Michigan. See, even though I don't, I'm not too hot on Michigan, because of the weather. Michigan is a housing buying opportunity. And so is Illinois. So is the state of Illinois. Michigan, folks, is a house buying opportunity. And so is the state of Illinois. Because people are fleeing. And if you're retired, you got away. If you got income already, you don't have to worry about where you work. Michigan or Illinois are the two states that get my attention. What do you think, Jack?
I ended up buying a house by my golf course. It looked like a trailer.
Yeah.
It was like 4-bedroom that's converted into 3 bedrooms. It was a nice size house. A little bit over 2 acres. I ended up fixing it. I was like, and then I ended up saying screw it and left and sold it.
Wow.
Came here, I'm like, I gotta get here to see my fiance.
Speaking of the whole housing thing, after doing careful research and just spewing stuff off the top of my head, I no longer believe that housing costs in the Philippines are going to drop. I no longer believe it after doing research. Because the Philippines did not go through what the United States went through in terms of economic downturn. Of course, they suffered. They suffered because of the calamity, but they did not suffer the way people in the United States suffered. At the most inopportune time, the cost of houses started to rise because people were being told to go home and work from home. And what ended up happening is when they sent them home from the office, they had to have a place for which they could work. And a lot of cases, they were making big time moves from having to commute from a very, very expensive apartment in the Bay Area into San Francisco. And when the bosses said work from home for the next year or two, they fled to places like Sacramento, where they drove the prices of housing incredibly high. Thank God they did. Because when I saw this happen, I said, oh, now is the time to bail. Now's the time to bail. Yeah.
I was kind of mad when a friend of mine that sold a house to, he fixed it up. Everything is like a brand new house. And then I see it sold for like 165,000. Like,
Oh,
I
you
can't
went,
stand
what?
it.
Damn.
Yeah.
Hey, they say that you can't time the market, and I believe that to be correct because I left a lot of money on the table. I sold right in the middle of the thing. Had I waited another month or 2 months, I would have made probably another 50 or 60, and could have even made another $70,000, 70K in American dollars, which goes a long way in the Philippines.
Mm-hmm.
Goes a long way, but I didn't, and so
As long as you live modestly, don't like blow your money everywhere. Trying to be
yeah,
a big shot foreigner.
yeah. Well, I wouldn't have acted that way. Most people that know me know that I would have just I would have put it under my mattress. I would have just sat on it. In fact, I'm still sitting on the money. Truth be told, the money, the profit that we ended up with is still hanging around. We didn't spend it. We haven't spent a dime of it. And that's because, oh, go ahead.
When I came here like 10 years ago, I was just blowing money. Had a girlfriend that was there for the money. And I was renting like 16, 18 passenger vans, like a Nissan NV 350.
Right.
Whatever it is, and his other cars. Because the vehicles would be sitting, do nothing over half the time. That was getting expensive. It's like
Yeah,
1, 2,
I bet.
5 a day. I even took him out to the service station and got oil change and cleaned up.
Yeah, the vehicle thing. If I get service, I'll probably just I'll buy a multi-cab. I'll buy a multi-cab and then I'll rent it out on the weekends. I'll go pick tourists up at the airport.
Older multi-cabs. My cousin had one years ago, and I wanted to go pick up some like speakers, amplifier, and car stereo. I'm driving this thing. My knees are on a dashboard, and it's a stick shift. I told my cousin, "You're driving this back. I can't do it because it's so weird. You got to position your feet in this thing because I'm 6 foot tall. And I got long legs.
Oh dang! I don't think that's gonna work in there. Yeah, I think you need a driver. If you get a multi-cab, you need somebody to drive it to go with it.
Mm-hmm.
What, Larice? Hey, Nitban is in the house. Nitban's in the house. But Larice, you're on your way to Manila again, you socialite. Larice, the #1 eligible bachelorette and socialite, hen for Manila again. How many of those 3-hour rides can you take? How many of those 3-hour rides can you make in a lifetime? 3 hours up and back. You're dedicated. All right, but she's got a good subscriber count and she's making money. So what can I say?
I think
all right, so let's talk about it.
From
go ahead.
Manila to Bacolod City, it was like 29 minutes, and the little Pearl Jumper planes.
Oh man, in one of the turboprops.
45 minutes, but I'm like, no, it's about 30 minutes.
Well, I may be doing a run like that soon. We'll have to wait and see. I'll let everybody know if we're doing a run like that soon, but we'll have to see. I'm keeping it a secret for right now, but I'm getting itchy. I'm getting itchy to go somewhere. I think we wouldn't have rented this apartment.
Room upstairs with aircon and your own CR.
Ah, okay. Sounds good. By the way, so I was saying that the housing market wasn't impacted a lot the way it was, like it was in the States. It kept going. Well, housing, you'd expect that because it's tied so close to the dollar, that once the expats vacated the Philippines and headed back home, the ones that didn't get trapped here, that is, during the lockdown, the ones that were able to sort out their visas, Well, they ended up going back home, and so you would have thought that the real estate prices would have collapsed at least in places like Cebu City and Manila, but they didn't. They went up. They continued the climb. If you go into Grandpa Vlogger's channel, he does a video where he talks about this. Now he keeps talking about, how he has a friend that owned a condo and blah, 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 blah. But actually, truth be told, it was him, him and his wife. So check this out. So I watched that video. A few weeks after I watched this video, I see Grandpa Vlogger and his wife in the Citadines Hotel near the Mall of Asia, where Manmini and I were staying for that 1 week as we prepared to head over to Thailand. So we came in, we went to Mall of Asia, we stayed at the Citadines Hotel, and I kept telling my wife, that is Grandpa Vlogger. And Grandpa Vlogger has not put up a whole bunch of videos lately. He slowed down quite a bit. And I kept telling Minnie, I was starstruck. Minnie, behind you is Grandpa Vlogger. She looks behind her. She goes, that's not him. But he started turning around and looking at us. Every time my wife would, I was facing him. I was facing him directly, and he knew that I knew who he was, right? But he was whispering to his wife, "Oh, that guy's creeping me out over there. That dude over there is creeping me out. I'm not going up. I'm not going over and introducing myself. He keeps staring at me." Like he's starstruck, like I'm a tasty piece of meat. I'm not going over there. I might get hurt. I'm an old man. He was giving me that kind of look. And eventually his wife turned around and looked, and she kind of goes, poof. She kind of looks at me and looks at me and poof. So I never got up the nerve to go over there and introduce myself to him. But he talked about how he was going to be going over to Manila soon. He still was debating whether he was going to retire there permanently, whether he was going to sell the condo, whether he was going to keep the condo. It was that sort of a thinking out loud process that was going on with Grandpa Vlogger. But eventually he said, damn, if I sell it, I'd be making some money. And then he did a spreadsheet. He likes doing these Excel spreadsheets and showing us the math. That's what impressed me about Grandpa Vlogger. You got this 71-year-old man or so, who, by the way, does not look a day over 55. I just would like to point that out. Now he does. Now he does. But he didn't when he was doing this video. And he presents everything on the Excel spreadsheet and just lays everything out there in a way that, which you can understand it. And he can make money. Even after the real estate fees, he still can profit. What does Nitban say? Oh, I was once starstruck in a Dunkin' Donuts. Oh, you're so funny, Nitban. That was me. That was you and I and Manmini at the Dunkin' Donuts in Thailand. In Pattaya at Terminal 21. I'm telling you, Nitban is one of the nicest people that you'd ever want to meet. And ladies, if you're single, he's one of the richest people you'd ever want to meet. He's modest about it. Listen, Nitban is very modest about it. But hey now, he's a good catch. He's a good catch. And so if you want, you go hook up with
I'm really single.
What? Say it again.
I'm really single.
Oh, I was going to ask you, Jack, because you started acting, or you're acting in your verbiage like a newly single man, and I didn't want to be rude. I didn't want to be rude and ask you what your status was. Anyway. All right. So now we know. Oh, now Nitban is saying Sir Dan is joking. So Nitban, Nitban, you're cracking me up. So anyway, let's talk about the facts, right? If you go into worldonline.com, this is where I'm getting my information. The property market in the country is generally projected to have bright prospects to rebound. It says rebound through 2023. So rebound, are you kidding me? It's going to go crazy. And the reason why it's going to go crazy is because you have 18,000 military personnel on the water, on the way to the Philippines right this very moment. Oh, so Tim is saying Grandpa Vlogger was starstruck over seeing you, Dan, and that's what the problem was. Tim cracks me up. He's quick. Him and Nitban are quick. Whenever they're in the chat, they're quick. They brighten it up. Oh, by the way, I don't know if you guys can see it over here, but this picture is over 20 years old. I don't know how Des found it, or Mel, or I think Des. This picture is over 20 years old. It was way back in the day when I was dating Mam Minnie coming to Bye Bye. I think it was my second visit. There was a cafe where they're now building a new mall. It was located across from the Central Market or the Public Market. It was a little bit bougie. I don't think Des would remember this because she's too young. I don't think Des or Mel would remember it because they weren't even born yet. But that cafe was a little bit bougie, and that's probably why it didn't last very long, because it didn't appeal to the masses. And I'd go over there and I'd have a cup of coffee, or I'd have a San Miguel Light. And I guess you're seeing me right there with a San Miguel Light in my hand. Oh, Jack, there you go. Jack's throwing back his 40. I got 2 cases sitting over there ready to be busted open over there. So
enjoyed.
Yes, thank you so much. So what was I talking about? Oh, how did you meet Mam Minnie? Hey, you don't want me to go into that story, Nitban. Everybody always makes fun of me. They always say, "Oh, sure you did, Dan. That's how you met Mam Minnie. Sure you did. Thumbs up." And so I don't tell the story anymore. Nobody believes me. No one believes me. So anyway, 18 years, almost 18 years, happily married to Mam Minnie. There were challenges. I'm not going to lie to you. There have been challenges from time to time. But after 15 years or so, you start settling into each other. It only took 15 years or so. You start seeing the flow of things, everybody's way of doing things like leaving the cap open on the Colgate. the toothpaste. Yeah. Oh yeah. Yep. Yeah, stuff like that. You get used to everybody's differences, idiosyncrasies.
I've noticed sometimes, like, where the hell's the cap for the toothpaste?
That's what I'm talking about, Jack. That's exactly what I'm talking about. It used to drive me crazy because I always replace the cap on the toothpaste. The reason is because you never know, unless you put a hidden camera in there, what goes on in the middle of the night with that toothpaste being, yeah.
Some bugs. In there.
Yeah, bugs would get in. I mean, for crying out loud, if you live in the Philippines, you're going to put a cap on everything. You don't want to have to worry about putting your toothpaste on there, putting your toothpaste on your toothbrush. Red horse in the house.
And you got some ants crawling out.
You got ants in there. You brush your teeth, and all of a sudden it feels a little bit more grittier than usual. You smile in the mirror, and you see ants crawling out around in your gums. Yeah, Dan, that because when you went to the original Dunkin' Donuts, the original Dunkin' Donuts here in Biba City Leyte was a closet. You had to walk in there sideways, or I did. I've since lost 20 pounds since those days. But yeah, who sets the thermostat? Well, we don't have thermostat control, but that is one of the problems in the States. But when we got here to the Philippines, it's no problem because you have the split AC units, as you know, Nipam. All you do is you got the remote control. It works great, and every room's compartmentalized. It's not central air heating, and so you just whenever you need a little bit to cool down, you just turn it on. You turn it on for 15 minutes, it cools the room down, and away you go.
My master bedroom, I got the split type. Another spare room upstairs is a window unit or a hole in the wall. But there's another bedroom up there that has nothing, not even a hole in the wall to put a aircon in.
Oh, but okay, so here's where I did cheap out. I'm gonna admit it in front of God and everybody. How I cheaped out was, and it's bad. It's bad form, really. I do apologize to my family and friends, but so we put in the mini splits in, I mean, like 30,000 BTU ones, big heavy duty ones. One in the living room, one in the kitchen, and then in our bedroom, I have a mini split. Right. But in the other rooms, they just have a regular window air conditioner. I cheaped out in the other bedrooms. And so, listen, the joke really is on me. The joke's really on me when I get the power bill because those are more expensive to operate. As you know, the mini splits, they don't draw as much power as those regular window air conditioners like they sell in the States. They draw a whole bunch of juice. And so I aired. And so somewhere down the road, when I get some extra spending money, I'm just joking. I could do it now, but I just won't. Because hardly anybody uses them. You know, a guest from the United States would want to use it. But otherwise, the family don't care nothing about that. They're in the other bedrooms. So I got the good one. Yeah.
My main room's got the split. It's a big one. And it runs 24/7 unless I get a brownout.
Good for you. What's your power bill look like?
I don't know. I don't pay nothing.
You don't pay anything for it?
Nope.
Hey, you fix the meter. You fix the meter like everybody else. Good for you. Hey, you pay the same $40 every month, no matter how much power you use.
It's like
someone showed
a bunch of stuff running, but
yeah,
my internet is only like 600 pesos a month.
Mine runs $40 American.
Beer and food. That's about it.
Mine is running about $35 or $40 a month until I pay off the equipment, and then it goes down to $1,200, 1,200 pesos a month, something like that. But it's the super duper high speed. But apparently, I'm not getting my money's worth out of that. Oh, well, better luck next time.
Yep.
My electric bill every month is running, I think last month it was $65 or $70. So it has come down a lot. And one reason is I had the electrician come over. I said, why are we burning so much power? And he looks around, he goes, because this is all wired wrong. You know, and so you're drawing power to ground. Huh? Dan, don't make me have to explain everything to you. Ohm's law and resistance and all this other stuff. I got too much work. I said, well, can you fix it? He goes, yeah, I'll fix it for you. And so it took a week or two, little by little, weekends, a lot of weekends. A lot of days where he squeezed me in because somebody crapped out on him. But the whole thing got rewired correctly. Everything got put on breakers. And once that happened, the power bill went from, I was paying, I think, $250 or $300 a month, and it went down to like $65, $70. So we got the power thing under control. But somebody showed me how to make the meter spin backwards.
think it's like
Hey,
a magnet or something like that.
yeah, Dan, listen, they're using the old school. They're using the old school meters that we used to use in the States. And I be knowing how these work. And so if you want to save some money, and then they showed me how to. Now you don't want me to expose it here on live TV. If I do that, I'll end up getting banned. And by the way, I'm not doing it.
Yep.
I play by the rules. I did not modify. I did not alter the meter. Anyway, the meter reader wouldn't.
My old apartment years ago, like 10 years ago, back home before I came here, it's like a, I don't know, 1,100 square foot.
Yeah.
It's got 2 bedrooms, living room, and each room has the HVAC in it. You know, like a old school, like hotel built in the wall
Mm-hmm.
below the window.
Oh,
Man, I was paying like around $500 a month for the heat.
yeah. Yeah. Heat is going crazy. The cost of natural gas. Was it electric? Was it electric or it's going crazy, man? They're that's another reason for leaving. That's another reason for leaving the United States for the Philippines. But
you can get
honestly,
a nice house here for less than $500 a month with your and paying your utilities.
yeah, that's what I mean, man. It costs more utility payments than it costs for rent on the house. So another reason to leave the United States for all other places, I should say. I'm going to tell you something. You don't need to be a rocket scientist in order to find a lower cost of living. I just would like to point that out to people. You don't need to be a rocket scientist. Just get on a plane and go anywhere, and you're gonna live cheaper than you can live in the United States. All you gals out there whose dream it is to go to the United States and live the American dream, I got to tell you something. It no longer exists the way that you think it does. It no longer exists. Yeah, Mam Mini was happy to get out of there.
New York. Don't move to New York downtown. You're gonna get a tiny little apartment, little studio thing, and you're gonna pay what over $2,000 a month.
Yeah, you'll pay $3,000. $3,000 a month. $3,000 would be a bargain. You'll be living in a shoebox.
Especially if you smoke.
Oh no!
About $20 a pack.
Terrible. It's going to cost you big money. The Philippine economy registered a 7.6% growth rate, but so far, in 2023, I think it's only running at something like 6%. So they had higher projections. They had projected that it would at least meet last year's numbers, but it isn't going to make it. It isn't going to make it. But the U.S. military could be a game changer because the U.S. is coming over here, and they're tossing around money all over the place like nobody's business.
Tim, he says, my girlfriend doesn't want to go to the States for any reason. Why? Because a lot of Filipinos are so family oriented, they don't want to leave them.
I would marry her if I were you, Tim. I would marry your girlfriend if I were you. All right, so we know that the Philippines is going to have a little problem reaching that 7% growth rate. I think it's going to be somewhere around 6%. So things are improving. They got a spike of improvement last year, but it sort of disappeared for 2023. But like I said, Sir Luke is in the house. May the force be with you, Sir Luke. But the whole thing is, this year is only getting started. We're only wrapping up the first quarter. Of course, now here's the other thing, Jack. You know how the banks are collapsing in in the United States. And now, what is it? What is it? The brokerage firm? Are they saying Schwab is in trouble? It lost something like $47 billion of its value.
Oh,
Something like that. I mean, hey, all you people that tell me, Dan, you need to get Schwab. You need to get Schwab. Nope. Nope. Didn't
I had
happen.
2 people tell me that. I'm like, no.
Yeah. I went with
Guess I gotta do
Fidelity. I went with Fidelity. Mertz is here. Mertz, you're
I
so
went with,
nice.
I went with Chase.
Pacquiao Mertz. Her PM messages and words of kindness, I really appreciate them, Mertz. I hope we get a chance to meet up when Ma'am Minnie and I are in Cebu. That's going to be after the 11th of next month. After Holy Week, when things get rolling again, people come back to the city from the province. That's when Ma'am Minnie and I will be taking the fast ferry over. The rate of inflation in the States, what's the real number? They're going to say that the real number is the same as it is in the Philippines, running around 8%. But we know, Tim, that's a lie.
I think it depends like state to state.
Yeah, it's a lie in the States anyway. They're saying 8% or 9%. Are you kidding me? It's at least 25 or 30.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, what's the index rate is going to be for October? Well, dang it! You know what? The fix is already in, Tim. The fix is already in. They're gonna lie so they don't have to pay out for Social Security. They're gonna lie and they're gonna say 2%. Well, I got news for you. 2% don't pay the rent. Thank you, Sir Luke, for the birthday wishes. Thank you, everyone, for wishing me a happy birthday. They're saying 6.04%. Liar, liar, pants on fire.
I was thinking about collecting Social Security, but I'm like, when I get back home, working my golf course, if I get caught working on the clock,
well, the problem is okay. So here's how disability insurance works. So as long as you got the 10 qualifying years in, and you qualify for regular disability, you're good to go.
Mm-hmm.
The folks that don't have 10 years of work history, you can't leave the United States for more than 30 days at a clip. They will stop your disability dead in its tracks. Okay. But for people that have 10 years of qualifying quarters, you're good to go. That's a lot of people that are living here in the Philippines. Or if you have military disability retirement and Social Security, you're good to go. You come here, live happily ever after.
Mm-hmm.
What the F, Mike is in the house. Filipino Raquel is here. Say it again. I interrupted you.
But don't spend all your money at one time because you think you're a big shot.
Oh, listen, I like playing the big shot game. No, everybody knows that I like that I do everything. It's pretty measured. Even I have a budget for YouTube. If I exceed my YouTube budget, I usually make up for it the following month. So my YouTube budget is sending out blessings every month and YouTube memberships. I love doing it. It has big time returns. I most likely will never stop doing it. So, but every once in a while I go overboard with sponsorships. And I have to reel myself in. Whoa, Dan. I have to reel it in. Yeah.
What are you doing?
What are you doing? You could pay for a mortgage on a brand new house with that money. Oh, my goodness gracious. But I just would like to point out, thank you, everybody, for all the birthday wishes. I truly appreciate you coming to this live, wishing me a happy birthday. What the F Mike says, I've tried spending all of my money at once. It hasn't worked yet. Don't get me started, Mike. Don't get me started.
I'm gonna give you one pro tip. Okay.
Yeah.
You buy yourself one of these bags.
Yeah.
Okay.
I got one. Don't
wear it like this.
I don't. Well, I have to be reminded to
No,
always
nothing
wear it in front. Always wear it front. And when you're wearing it in front, always be aware of the two guys with helmets and masks coming up on you on a motorbike.
Yep.
Always be aware. Jack's giving great advice. That's how you do it.
I went to a bar last year sometime, and yeah, I got pickpocketed because
Like that.
It was wide open.
Ah,
I could barely pay my tab. They took about 10,000 for me. I'm like,
oh my goodness. And what the F, Mike? Let's find out from Jack why he doesn't like wearing a fanny pack.
it looks too touristy.
Yeah, it looks too touristy, you know, and when you're wearing a man purse, makes you look like you know what you're doing, right?
Mm-hmm. It's like the Koreans that come here. They always got the camera.
Yeah.
Like, you're a tourist. You're easy target.
Yeah,
so
but
I'm fitting in.
But Jack, you know where I keep my money? You know where I keep my money? I'm going to reveal it all. If I'm just keeping walking around money, I have the secret hiding place. I just built in a Scotiamore room where the elephant trunk goes, and I stuffed the money down there. But,
oh man.
So the problem is, right, that I hurt myself a couple of times reaching down there.
If somebody's trying to get that money from you, you're gonna feel it.
That's the problem. That's the problem with that idea. So what ended up happening was, so I have a Velcro strap built in, right? And that Velcro strap. So one time I go down there, right, and I have a little problem extracting the goods from down there. And listen, don't make me go into details. Use your imagination to figure out what happened.
I get it. I totally get it. I get it.
Yeah, it was an accident. Let's just say that. It was an accident. I no longer do it that way. So what the F Mike says, he keeps his money in his inner vest pocket, which is a great idea. And so so Man Minnie, she, as a lot of you know from one of her video shorts. No, not those kind of shorts. She knows how to sew, and so she has sewn secret pockets in just about every piece of clothing that I own. So use Ziploc and put it inside your shoes, safer. Yeah. And so I've done this. I've used a Ziploc bag, Filipina Raquel, and I've stuffed it in my socks, and it works just fine. But the pickpocketers, the people that are after your money, they're going to want you to, if you're walking around drunk late at night, this is why I don't walk around drunk late at night. They're going to make you, you get into a dark alleyway, and there are a lot of those in Makati. There are a lot of those in Mango. There are a lot of those in Cologne. Yeah. They're going to get you in a dark alleyway. Usually there'll be two of them. And they're going to make you strip down to nothingness and take everything you got and leave you standing there naked, figuring out how you're going to get back home without
Somebody
any clothes.
Somebody tried doing that to me here, and I said, "Go F yourself," and I kept walking.
You kept walking.
Bigger and bigger.
But you heard about that guy in Makati that got killed. That dude did something really stupid. That dude tried to wrestle the gun away from the dude, and he ended up getting shot dead. Thankfully, he got shot dead. It was instantaneous. Probably didn't feel a thing. Just bled out right there in the street. So anyway, stuff is dangerous. And so by the way, I don't carry a whole bunch of money around. I don't. Man Minnie has a bank account set up. She has the magic ATM card. We need money. We just go to the ATM in Cebu or wherever, or go walk into the bank, and we'll just take a withdrawal from there. Do not
I
carry
don't.
a whole bunch of money.
I don't carry a lot of money
Now,
on me.
one time I was in New York City, and I was a kid, and I was in Times Square, a place where I shouldn't have ought to been, but it was the middle of the day. Was not at nighttime. Well, most people know Times Square is now a little bit bougie, so it's a lot bougie now. Back in the day, it was a little bit, sketchy. So I'm walking through Times Square in the middle of the day, when all of a sudden somebody says, "Hey, you kid, look out!" And all of a sudden, this dude comes running by at like 100 miles an hour. I mean, he was moving. He pushes me. He bumps me like boosh. And the dude standing right next to me grabs my wallet out of my butt pocket and takes off down the street. And I started laughing my ass off. I was like, ha 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 ha. Everybody's looking at me. What are you laughing for? You just got mugged. What are you laughing for? I said, they took the decoy wallet. Ha 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 ha. And then down the road, right? Here goes my wallet with all the fake credit cards and stuff, and the Monopoly money I'd put in it. Here it goes flying up in the air. Everybody could see it. They threw that wallet up in the air, and you see the Monopoly money and the fake credit cards go flying everywhere. And I thought this was hilarious. This was so hilarious, and I was like, but you know what? Don't outsmart the criminals. Don't try and outsmart the criminals. They could have come back and done me harm.
I was downtown Bacolod by the lagoon.
Yeah.
And this woman, she's probably about like 45 years old. And she's like, "What are you doing here?" I'm like, "Waiting for my girlfriend."
Uh-huh.
"You need a girlfriend?" I'm like, "No, I don't." So she brings up this like 15-year-old girl. I'm like, "No."
Oh no. Hell no. Hell no.
Hell no.
Listen.
Can we have money for cheeseburgers at Jollibee? I'm like, "No, I'll take you there. We'll walk this right there, walk across the street, and I'll buy you some hamburgers." And then next thing you know, the girl sticks her hand in my pocket and pulls out probably about almost 10 grand. I grabbed her hand, pushed her back.
Oh my gosh.
I'm not getting robbed.
This happened to a friend of mine.
There's another guy on YouTube. Same place, same woman, did the same thing, and I think he punched her.
I had this happen to a friend of mine. He was in Brazil. He was in Brazil. Oh, Raquel's making a good point. Even around family party, they can rob you without you knowing it. I know. Hey, Filipino Raquel. Every time we have a big gathering here, family. Listen, I love Minnie's family and relatives, but all of a sudden my butcher knife is missing. My carving knife is gone. I'm missing half a dozen forks and spoons and cups and ceramic dishes and stuff that has a personal
things.
Yeah, a lot of things missing, right? And so I've now learned to put all that stuff away and lock it up. Anything that means anything to me, like awards that I got while I was working and stuff like that, I put away.
I got 3 metal forks left in my house out of like over 12.
Uh-huh.
Where'd they go?
What?
Missing plates, missing bowls, missing coffee mugs.
I don't go around counting all the stuff. I don't go around counting everything. Let's say, okay, we're gonna put out 14 forks, 14 spoons, blah 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 blah. Right? I don't do that. But dang, I'm never amazed. I'm always surprised when stuff turns up missing. You know.
Mm-hmm.
Or how about this? How
I
about
got
this? I know
I
this
have a
is
whole
part.
heap of salt that's missing.
Yeah, salt shakers are gone. Hey, you know what? Instead of ketchup, keep mustard around the house. The mustard never disappears.
There's nobody. I
So
don't think anybody likes mustard here in the Philippines.
yeah, the
Yeah,
mustard never disappears. So here, I know better that if we're having a big get to do a gathering around here, to load up on Imperador, load up on Red Horse, have a couple cases of
right
Red
away.
Horse, have some San Miguel hanging around, and just put it out there put it out there in the common area outside the house. Everybody will gravitate out there. Everybody will gravitate out there because that's where all
I
the
got
adult beverages are
Colgate
going to be.
missing.
Yeah.
See the Colgate just missing. Oh, lazy Lee. I bought a case of primer and a case of paint for my front gate. I got like 4 or 5 bottles left of cans of spray paint left out of the case. I'm like, where's this going?
Hey, Tim is saying reminds me that I want to get some horseradish. Horseradish. Oh my God. Don't kill somebody.
Red Horse?
Don't kill somebody, Tim. It's not like that.
I'll be-
Most of the stuff
I'll be-
I don't miss. I mean, it's
I'll
only
be-
when
I'll be
something
white
sentimental disappears. It's like when the $40 butcher knife disappears. I spent $40 on it. Larry's in the house. Larry, come on up. You're late. You're late. You're forgiven. If you have time to come on up here. All right. So what was I talking about? All right. So what does the future as far as housing look like for the Philippines? So after reading all this stuff, after reading about the new supply of houses that are coming our way in the Philippines, it still is only looking like it's not going to do much to impact the housing market in terms of prices, especially now that we know we have 18,000 troops coming here heading for the Philippines. Now, I had mentioned, I think on one of my previous lives, that Mam Minnie pointed out that she noticed a couple of container ships that we never noticed before in the Deepwater Channel as we were heading from Cebu to Ormoc. And on this last trip, we saw them again. And so I talked about those with my pals over at the Dunkin' Donuts. Their guess is they're already bringing in supplies. Those are support ships bringing supplies in for the military. And we already saw one military craft in the area. And so we're kind of guessing they'll be transiting through Bye City Leyte, Bye City Port, or somewhere close by. Could be Ormoc. Hey, take care, man. Are you leaving us?
I should be back in about 20 minutes.
Okay. All right. Thanks, Jack. Appreciate
I have to go rob a bank real quick.
it. Sounds good. Sounds good. Get some money for us. Yeah. So it looks like things are in play. And so now, what else is going on? Oh yeah. So, but 18,000 troops doesn't sound to me like they're transiting through or they're rotating in and out. It sounds to me like they're setting up shop. That's what it sounds like to me.
Well, 18,000 troops can be rotated in and out, but it's not going to be done on a daily, weekly, or monthly basis.
Yeah, of course not.
Yeah, it'll be done like every 6 months to a year.
Right.
So it sounds like they're going to be here for a while. Now
Right.
the Navy can transport their people in and out because it's ships. You pull in for a week or two, pack back up, and get back on the road, and somebody else comes in.
Hey! I mentioned this, Larry. I mentioned this on a previous stream. I had said that the newspaper reports are calling it Clark Air Force Base again.
Yeah.
Folks, you have to pay attention to how they're presenting news to you. You have to. The Philippine Star wrote an article and they referred to one of the bases as being Clark Air Force Base.
The
the
Philippine
U.S.
Star
mil-
did that?
Huh?
You said the Philippine paper did that?
Yes, Philippine Star.
Huh.
I was shocked. I go, okay, I see what's happening here. And so what they were talking about the F-22s being moved from their base in Okinawa to Clark Air Force Base. And by the way, they've identified 3 or 4 of the bases. So we now know that the base are going to be, one of them is going to be at Mactan, which I already had guessed. It's going to be at Clark. And check this out. It's obvious. I should have thought of this. Isabella, where Pinky Gray is. Isabella, where Pinky Gray lives, is convenient for me because I had a talk with Man Mini. I said, now that I know that they're going to be at Isabella, once they get set up, and I've been wanting to see Pinky Gray, when we start heading north, we got to put Isabella on the map for a place to visit so that we can go in there. We could do some video on what we're seeing and how it's impacting the economy in poor Isabella. Isabella could certainly use the infusion of cash, and so can obviously so can Mactan. So I mean, but Manila, I mean, at Clark, it's rocking and rolling. It's rocking and rolling
Well,
like nobody's business.
My understanding, they're going to go back to Subic too, aren't they? For the Navy?
And Subic Bay. Yeah, the Navy will be in Subic Bay. So, I mean, we know we know they're going to Palawan. We know they're going to Mindanao. We know. So now the 4 bases has all of a sudden expanded to include 9 locations. 9 locations, folks. I don't believe this is an occupation. I don't believe so. No, they're not gonna come here and occupy those bases. But they're expanding their presence all over the Philippines. Is this a good thing or it's a bad thing? I think it's a good thing because they're bringing those dollars with them for infrastructure improvements.
I think it's a good thing for 2 reasons.
Yes.
One, like you said, the influx of dollars.
Right.
2, to maybe hopefully settle down the area, the situation in the area.
Right, but whatever
Stabilization
they make. Here's the thing about infrastructure.
No, I'm talking about the stabilization between what's going on.
Yes. Yeah, I think the Chinese are already figuring things out that we've awoken the sleeping giant.
That's what the Japanese said.
Yeah. Check this out. Whatever improvements they do in infrastructure, because they need it to support the troops, the local areas will benefit from that. Because if they put in a fresh water plant, they only need so much capacity. If they put in a freshwater treatment plant or a sewage treatment plant and all those things, the local area, the local barangays will benefit from that. And I was thinking of it in terms of sewage treatment and fresh water. Right now, so everybody knows, or maybe you don't know, only about, I would say, 44% of all the people in the Philippines have access to fresh, potable drinking water. 56% of the country still have to filter it, boil it, bottle it, buy bottled water, get it commercially, or they have to get used to figuring out how to filter it their own way using, what do they use? Coconut, charcoal, filtration systems. They make them at home. They make it at home in barrels where they take the coconut charcoal, they activate it, the husk, and they activate the charcoal in the husk, and then they filter the water through there. Or they're getting it from rainwater. So all of these in those areas, that are going to be impacted because military troops are going there, it's going to be beneficial. But inflation will be high in the Philippines, yes. And Nitban, I talked about this earlier. It'll cause a spike in prices. But already, Nitban, you can go into the local market here and they're stocking up on American goods. So you know something is up. I mean, they're stacking toilet paper to the ceiling. They're stacking toilet paper. There's that joke again. Hardy har har. Americans cannot figure out how to wipe their ass. Hardy har har. They have to go out and they have to use toilet paper.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, setting that part aside, it's Skippy peanut butter. It's Reese's peanut butter cups. It's Trixer for Kids cereal. It's Cheerios. It's Oscar Mayer Bologna. It's recognizable American brands. You tell me that they're not gearing up for American expats and Westerners and military personnel, and the support teams are coming here, and they're preparing by stocking up on the things that they know Americans like. And so we're talking about American ground beef, American T-bone steaks. I think what I need to do is a video on this. I will show you it's happening. I will show you it's happening right here in River City, right here in Bye City Leyte. I'm going to show you that it's happening. I have to.
There's a video.
There's a video.
Happy birthday there, Dan. When's your birthday?
Happy birthday to
me.
You. There it is,
Happy
right
birthday.
there. Age 66.
Happy birthday, dear Dan.
Today, right here, is my 66th birthday.
Okay.
It's a coinkydink that I'm doing a live stream on my birthday. It's not a birthday live stream. By the way, last week, I forgot to publicly announce the winner of Donut and Coffee with Dan. Donut and Coffee with Dan was won by Mabel Torres last week. So I just want to be in the spirit of transparency. Yeah, I sent her off the Gcash. Now, who shall we pick? Who should we pick today as a winner
Me!
of this week? Oh yeah. Let me look.
Who hasn't won it in a while?
Who are you suggesting?
Somebody that hadn't won it in a while.
How about Michelle Ann? How do you say her last name? Michelle Ann. It looks like it's pronounced Peso or Paiso. Paiso. Is that Paiso? Michelle Ann, you are this week's winner of Coffee and Donuts with Dan. And so I'll be sending you 100 pesos to your Gcash account if you have one. But Michelle, I don't know if I have your Gcash account number. So if one of you can get permission and PM it to me for Michelle, that would be great. So Michelle, it's your turn for 100 pesos. So you can head over to the Dunkin' Donuts and get a coffee and a donut. Wahoo! Yay! Yahoo! Winner. Pacquiao Mertz, is that one of your supporters? Please get permission to send over her, PM her Gcash account number to me, and I'll send that right out. All right, so Larry, we were talking about the Philippine economy.
Yeah.
And I was just sharing a few numbers. And so it looks like I was wrong, and I admitted that I was wrong. It does not appear, as far as the housing market is concerned, that we're going to see a decline. It doesn't really look like the opposite is going to occur, because it looks to me like demand will keep up with supply. So you have a lot of new condos coming in. And I think 6,000 or close to 6,000 by the end of 2023 are going to be completed and coming online. A lot of those have not been pre-sold yet. But here's what's going on in the market. You're seeing a depression in vacants in people renting Airbnbs. And so that has caused, and so as far as tourists coming in here, they're not. I mean, they are. Tourism is hot in the Philippines right now, but the problem is Airbnb supply keeps increasing. So every time they take a unit out of renting it to an expat like me, and they make it and they give it over to Airbnb, they're taking it out of play, and so that's keeping the rental rates
Oh,
pretty
yeah.
even. It's preventing them from falling.
Yeah.
It's preventing them from dropping. So Airbnb has an oversupply of units in the Philippines to rent, and so only about they have about they're only realizing a 60% rental rate. So that means 40% vacancy rate. And so on the other end of it, that means that they're taking those apartments out of play because people think they'll have a better chance of renting it short term, and for the most part, they do. I mean, if it's been vacant for a year, and then all of a sudden they go over to Airbnb, they get somebody to rent it short term for a week or two. They're making some money anyway.
Yeah.
So that's why the prices of rental units in Cebu, places like Cebu and Manila, are not declining. And so I had said earlier that I went into Roman Hogan. He's based out of Thailand. He has an apartment. I asked him a question. Doesn't it seem like it would be cheaper to live in the Philippines than in Thailand? And he says, "Well, Dan, look at my luxury apartment that I got back here for $350 a month." And I go, "Yeah, but Roman Hogan, what happened to $150 a month rentals?" Oh, that was 10 years ago or so, Dan. And then somebody chimed in and they said it perfectly. They said, "Dan, put it to you this way. I'm not going to lie to you." They said that luxury is more expensive in the Philippines. And you know what? I think that's correct. I think it is more expensive in the Philippines. It is more expensive. Michelle, make sure I get your GCash account so I could send you 100 pesos. You're this week's winner on Donuts and Coffee with Dan. So I want to make sure that I get that out to you. So Larry, so this person comes in who's been to both places also, and they say, I think that it costs more for luxury in the Philippines. And of course, when you think about it, it does. If you're going to IT Park, or you're going to Makati or BGC or something like that, it's going to cost you more money than if you're going a few stops down the SkyTrain from downtown Bangkok, Thailand.
Yeah.
And so, but it's deceiving because when I look at the hard numbers that are online, I discover that the consensus by all these think tanks is, I always look at three, it's 20 to 25% more expensive to live in Thailand than it is the Philippines. There you have it. There you have it.
I would think that would be correct because you got to remember now, especially for an expat, you have to leave more often to renew your. So that's got to be taken into consideration. You got to leave the
Absolutely, it
country a lot
does.
more.
Absolutely. They don't kill you. They charge fees for all that stuff here.
Yeah. Yeah, but you don't have to leave once every 3 years. There, you got to leave almost every month.
That's right. And here Nitban is saying hotels are costlier in the Philippines than Thailand. And that has to be in the equation. That has to be built in the equation. Nitban is right. My experience bears out what Nitban is saying. Hotels will kill you in the Philippines, but you can still get a $10 a night hotel in Jomtien Beach in the Philippines, in Thailand. In the Philippines, good luck trying to find that. Good luck trying to find that.
I think if you're going on vacation, Thailand's a place to go because it's cheaper for, like you said, the hotel rooms and stuff like that. But if you're going to live, if you want to go and especially if you want to go for a few months, maybe not an extended vacation, I'd say the Philippines. If you're going
Right.
for a week to a month, Thailand.
Tim
You're
is
going
saying
for 2 months or
I
more.
just saw an article about prices in Manila is second to Singapore as being the most expensive in Southeast Asian countries, and I believe that's also correct.
Well, I
Yeah,
wouldn't doubt that.
if you want to achieve a Western lifestyle in Manila, good luck.
Oh
Good
yeah.
luck.
Well,
Because
we know a guy that's living there.
yeah, Makati
For,
Mas.
yeah.
What's he paying? $3,000 a month for his apartment?
Well, he looked at a $1,000 apartment, and it was just too dumpy for him.
Yeah, it's too dumpy. At $1,000, 50,000 pesos a month, and it's too dumpy. And
He
so,
didn't like it, so he's paying at least $2,000.
yeah, he's got to be paying at least $2,000. I'll tell you, $1,000 at Soi 9 or Soi 11 in Bangkok is going to get you a luxury apartment on the top floor of one of those fancy high rises that has all the plush amenities that a person would ever desire. It would cost you $10,000 a month to replicate that luxurious lifestyle if you were living in San Francisco overlooking the bay. I am not kidding you. I've seen it. I've been there. I've done that.
American cities are outrageous. New
They're
York City,
outrageous,
San Francisco, LA, Chicago. They're all
You
outrageous.
are exactly right. They're outrageous, crazy expensive. And they're coming down a little bit, but they're not coming down enough that you and I could afford to live there. That's for damn sure. All right, so I was wrong. I was waiting for the housing dip. Now I have all the information. I went in there. I actually read about it. I actually did my homework.
Did you
I
extend
realized that it really does make sense to take available cash that I have sitting around doing nothing in the bank and invest it in real estate. And I know a lot of people say, no, I would never do that, Dan. That's a little chancy. Blah, 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 blah. But you have to have all the information before making a decision like that. You have to look at population trends. Who's going to be able to afford to buy it? Who could live there? Blah, 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 blah. You know me, I like floating. I like floating around everywhere from north to south in the Philippines. It would be nice to have a place right next to Tim. Tim might not like it. Tim might not like me being his neighbor, but it would be nice buying a place right next door to Tim.
I kind of like the place you're renting. I mean, I haven't seen it yet, but I like the sound of it.
Go, if you want to see where I'm living, listen, I'm going to reveal it. I don't think that anybody's going to come and harm me in some way.
No, that's all I'm saying. You haven't done a video on it yet.
Well,
but you have
I'll show you where it's at. If you go into Airbnb or you go into Google, look up MIT apartments, residential apartments, MIT, that's Massachusetts Institute of Technology, MIT residences in LAHUG, Cebu City. Put that in Google search and the apartment's going to come up. You can do that either by Google or you can go into Airbnb and the pictures of the apartment will come up. That's all you have to do. Of course, I'm going to do a video on it. You guys go in there and take a look, and you'll be pretty impressed. You'll be pretty amazed that I'm getting that for less than $250.
That's what I said. $250 a month. You can hire a maid for what, $12 each trip. And Tim says, don't forget the donuts.
Don't forget to bring the donuts.
Don't forget to make the donuts.
Yeah, you're welcome, Michelle. I'm glad you won. Thank you so much for being here in my live and being so supportive. Always commenting and those things. I take notice. I always take notice. I remember you. Sooner or later, I'll remember you. Oh, Jack is back. Jack is back.
Jack.
There he is. Jack? All right. So now, I don't know, Larry, I don't believe that you were here when Jack announced to the world that he is now a single, available man. He's now single and available.
You broke up. I'm sorry to hear that, Jack. Unless it's a good thing. I mean, sometimes it's a good thing, sometimes it's not.
It's
Well,
okay.
he don't. I didn't see tears coming down his face. I didn't notice that when he was telling us about it that tears were pouring down his cheeks.
And a half naked white dude walking behind me.
Yeah,
there's a half naked dude. Yeah, that's
I
right.
don't, ladies, I don't swing that way.
Oh, come on now! You swear you're a switch hitter. I'm sorry, Jack. I had to give you a hard time when you said that.
It's okay.
Crystals is making a point. Crystals is saying, and speaking of that, Sir Tim, low-income Filipinos can't cope with skyrocketing prices. Yeah, and you know what? Interesting enough, when I first started talking about growing a victory garden, preparing yourself for the worst, Crystals was the first one. I had many comments, but Crystals was the first one to comment saying, yeah, congratulations to you, Dan, for letting the earth be your provider, growing those vegetables. Because I already know Crystals and Mark. I already know. I don't even have to ask them. They must grow their own food. They must grow some of their own food.
At least some of it, yeah.
Yeah, at least some of it. But I was surprised to learn when I went into Rebeauty's video, one of her latest ones, she was talking about it. And she says that most of them, even if they're in the province, don't do it.
Don't do it.
She doesn't know what the reason is.
Why. Yeah.
She doesn't know why, right? You must have seen the video.
Yeah, I did. I watched it today.
Yeah. She doesn't know why. It's puzzling. She suggested, I'm not a believer in this. Believe me, I don't believe this. But she suggested laziness as being the reason.
Hey, wait, no. That's me, guys. Come on.
I certainly don't believe it, because Filipinos are the hardest working people that I have ever seen.
Maybe she meant laziness with that when they're off work, they don't want to do the extra work.
Well, I'm going to tell you, you want to see lazy at work, you should have seen me. There's no lazier person in the planet than me.
My name is correct. When it says lazy, that's correct. I was at work today. I did walk over almost 10,000 steps today, but
good for
but
you.
when I'm at work, I sit at a desk similar to this. I have two monitors in front of me. One's got I have a thing running to keep the cameras up. I mean, the other one's got the cameras, and I sit there, and if somebody doesn't come through, I'm going. So I get my phones out and play on my phones.
Oh, Des is saying, Sir Dan, thank you yesterday. That was too much fun. I want to tell you something. It was fun. We had fun. So I was in Caridad yesterday. Yeah. We did the barangay feeding in Caridad. I was late to the appointment, by the way. I had to, for some reason, I kept waving people down, man meeting. I kept waving people down. We're going to Caridad, and they were like, we ain't going that far.
That's why you didn't show up last night.
Yeah, so finally, we were able to get the metro. And then getting a ride back was no problem. Getting a ride back to Byway, we were just headed out to the main highway, and boom, we were back home before we knew it. But that was fun, Des. Thank you so much. I'm the one that should be thanking you and Mel for putting in all the work, cooking the food. The kids were happy. I mean, the kids were glowing. They couldn't wait to get their hands on the delicious fried chicken and that spaghetti. They had fried chicken and spaghetti, and they had
and probably the spaghetti they wanted the most.
They give them a juice, and then Minnie brought. I wasn't expecting her to do it, but she brought a whole big bag of candy that she shared with the kids, and they were happy. I saw them bouncing off the walls after a while. They were eating that candy when they were done eating their meal, and I think I saw a few of the parents had to pull the candy away because they were like, oh, hell no. I'm not going to put up with this for the rest of the night. Them kids were bouncing off the walls. Sugar them up. That's what I say. Sugar them up.
Oh, yeah. Keep your parents awake.
Right.
Now, I make a dessert that's very easy. You remember the popsicles, the old orange popsicles?
Yeah.
I
Oh,
make
I
a
love
dessert
those.
that tastes a lot like the old popsicles. It's a pie. It's called creamsicle pie.
Oh, I love it.
It's Tang,
Sweet
uh,
spaghetti, writing it down.
Philadelphia cream cheese, and a graham cracker pie crust.
Yeah.
You mix it all together and you freeze it. You
There's no
pull it
better
out.
tasting pie in the whole world than that pie. It
I
tastes like
think
a
that tastes.
50-50 bar. Tastes like a 50-50 bar.
Oh, you've had one?
Oh, yes,
That's,
absolutely. What are you kidding me?
that
Heck
sounded good right
yeah.
about now.
Now you can do it two different ways, Jack. You can do the tang in just half of the Cool Whip and pineapple, not pineapple, that's too big. Philadelphia cream cheese mix, and then put the other half on the bottom. Then you put that on top, so you got like two layers. Or you can just I mix it all together and just make it all the same thing. But
Hmm.
I've done that for years. I've made those. I haven't done any since I've been down here, but it's just me. My friends doesn't eat that kind of stuff, and I'm not gonna. I'd eat wait. If I made it, I'd eat all of it. So it's like, no, I'm not making
Hey, by the way, do either of you know what the fastest growing area of the Philippines is? What would your guess be?
Well,
The
I'm gonna
fastest
say bye
growing.
bye
Jack?
because you've been talking about
Um,
all the infrastructure they've been doing. I'll say bye bye.
since I'm here in Bacolod, I'm gonna say Bacolod because they're doing a
Yeah,
lot of
I think it's way up there.
and building.
I think it's
Mhm.
way up there on the list. I think I saw it, but it is Quezon City.
Okay,
Yeah.
son. Okay.
Yeah, Quezon
It,
City.
it looks like it should be pronounced Quezon, but it's Quezon.
Yeah, I believe
Yep.
so. But I mean, I'm not surprised by that. But I
It's
know,
right
I
up by
know.
Manila.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And so all that area around there, all the Cavite and Quezon City and where you're at, Jack, all those areas are growing like crazy.
I have to wear a hat since everybody else is wearing a hat.
Oh yeah, sure, of course. Of course. It's a
Yeah.
requirement.
Part of your brand. Just part of your brand, man.
Mhm.
Yeah.
You know?
Oh, and glasses.
Well,
Oh
you
yeah,
got glasses
glasses
on.
too. Absolutely, glasses. Oh, let's see. So anyway, that's what's going on in the Philippines. So now I'm rethinking this whole thing. So I'm rethinking. So
That needs
now,
a beard.
so now I'm happy. I'm happy with this idea of renting this apartment in Cebu and getting it for $250 a month.
That's a cheap.
I would, if I was there right now, that's the kind of deal I would want. Because
Right.
Yeah.
even if you decide you don't like it, you're only stuck there for so long.
Right.
It's furnished, so you say, all right, I don't want to stay here.
Mm-hmm.
I'll go look somewhere else. That's what I said. When you move there, if I move there, because like I said, we all know that right now my mother's still alive and I got to get some bills paid off. And so it depends on my health when all that comes together. Although
Yeah.
I'll have one bill paid off and I got two more payments. And one of my second largest bill is paid off. Two more payments.
Wow. That's a big deal.
Oh, yeah. That's,
Hey.
that's over
Hey.
$385 a month.
Tim in here is saying, Crystal, I wish I had some land for a garden. Tim, we don't have land for a garden. We're stealing it. We're using the land across the way from us, and we're also using land behind us. Nobody said a word. We went in there, we worked it, we planted it, we put a fence around it. No one said a word. It's stolen land.
But
I see
Yeah,
stuff
that's-
coming out of the ground. If the neighbor comes over and says, hey, what are you doing growing on my land? I'm just going to say, here, have some vegetables. Oh, thank you. And, yeah, that's all you got to do is share with everybody else in the barangay. That's all you got to do. They'll let you do all the work and pay for the labor so you can grow vegetables for which they get the benefit of them. Heck yeah.
my
Yeah.
my grandfather used to own 53 acres Now a lot of it was woods, but he rented it out to one of the other farmers. He didn't farm it, but he did profit from it by letting somebody else farm it.
Yeah, the neighbors will just hang around it, man, and wait for the harvest. And then they'll throw a big party, a big vegetable party. Eating eggplant and whatever the harvest, tomatoes.
Now, if we were
All
going to
right.
have a harvest party, and I'm going to be there, we're going to have a what do they call that? Roast pig, but I'm trying to think of the correct term. We'd be having one of those roasted pigs,
It
and then
says that half of the units, half of the apartments that are being built, residential apartments,
yeah,
are going to be completed this year and are located in Fort Bonifacio. Well, that's where all the rich people live.
yeah, that's why they're building them. They expect more rich people.
Yeah, that's where all the rich people are. I can't afford to live where all the rich people are.
I can't even afford to be anywhere close to them. What are you talking
Yeah.
about?
They're saying that meanwhile, they have a department called the Recovery of Office Leasing. The condominiums this year are seen to support
Luchon, yeah, that's what
a drop in vacancy to 17% from last year's 17.6%. So that doesn't tell me much, honestly. That doesn't tell me much. I'd have to dig more. I'd have to dig deeper to get closer to what's actually happening in terms of vacancy rate. On average, hotel occupancies reach 55% in Metro Manila. That's a clue. In the second half of 2022, they expanded from 47% to 55%. In 2023, the local staycation market, they're talking about Airbnbs, experienced growth. Projected average hotel occupancy this year is 60%. But you can see 60% is nice if you're talking about trying to make up for COVID years. But unfortunately, it's not nearly where it needs to be.
Yeah. Well, but I'm going to tell you the truth. Part of the reason it's not growing real fast is look at the cost to get there. So you take the vacation millionaire, the 2-week millionaire.
Yeah, I used to be one of them.
I'm just saying though, you know what I'm talking about. The guy just goes over for 2 weeks and he got a lot of money to spend in 2 weeks.
Right.
He's not going to go now, maybe because how much does it cost him to go there? It used to be a lot cheaper to fly there and back.
Oh heck, you could do round trip for what? I've done round trip for $600 or less.
Like I said, and it costs you more than that one way now.
Oh my gosh, it's crazy.
So that's what I'm saying. Until those prices start coming, you all right there, Jack?
I fell asleep last night, kind of messed up. I think my left leg was hanging over the bed.
Okay. It's giving you trouble today. Yeah, I understand. Yeah.
Oh.
But I saw you limping, so I wanted to make sure you were okay.
Yeah, I'm not feeling it today, but I'll come back down. I have to grab my charger from my clippers so I can get rid of this hair.
You gonna cut your beard off?
Okay. All right, bro. We'll talk to you later.
But
all right. So let's see. Flexible workspace vacancy in the capital region decreased from 41% in 2020 to 11.9% by the end of 2022. Wow. Outsourcing firms had a decline. Of course they did.
You got round trip to Thailand and back on Korean Air for $800. That's not bad.
Is that what they're saying? Who's saying that?
Well, that Nitman said he got a round trip San Francisco.
What?
I'm assuming what SFO stands for, San Francisco.
Yeah.
To Bangkok at $800 on Korean Air.
That is Wow, that's a
That
deal.
is really good at now.
I guess
Now,
it's
how far?
okay. Knit band. I guess it's okay if you want to lay over in Seoul.
With Knitband, how far in advance did you have to book that flight? Because I know the farther in advance you booked, the cheaper it is.
Hey, somebody, folks, you may know that we have a ton of Russian and Ukrainian immigrants already starting to show up in Southeast Asian countries.
Yeah.
And that also is going to skew some of these numbers, some of these housing numbers. But so far, I haven't seen it impact the Philippines at all. Because I don't know, maybe they're not coming here. I don't know. But typically, it's been a typical vacation spot in years gone by. Indonesia, Bali, Thailand, and other countries. But for some reason, not the Philippines. I'm not sure why.
I haven't
You're going to
seen
share
anybody
the camera.
from there come here.
Nitban is saying he had 3 hour layover. He booked 1.5 months before travel dates.
That's not a bad 3 hour layover. It's not bad.
But Nitban, you know how I feel about it. I've talked about it before. That the game plan for airlines moving forward, because they don't have enough pilots, is to maximize the return on investment. One of the ways that they can maximize the return on investment is to reduce the number of coach seats by increasing the number of premium economy seats.
Yeah.
And the retrofitters are having a field day because they keep getting mega orders for retrofits of their 320 to 321 Airbuses and the Boeing jets. The Boeing, what is it, the one they use? 777 and what's the other one? Anyway, they're getting orders for retrofits. Yeah, so that they basically can charge more money for the same space. It was previously occupied by a coach passenger. So that'll automatically cause coach prices to rise, because then it'll be a matter of supply and demand.
Yeah, well, Knitman said he took the economy class. So what? But still,
well, you got to get on the frequent flyer bandwagon. I'm not sure why you're not. I have, man, Minnie and I have something like 12,000 flying miles available to us on Philippine Airlines. You don't think I'm not going to burn those up the next time around? I'm going to burn those up. Actually, I'm going to burn them up and probably never fly Philippine Airlines again. I'll go back to the Green Plane. I'll go back to Ava or EVA.
Korean Airlines.
Yeah. I'd rather fly through Taipei and pay a lot less than have to deal with frequent flyer miles flying through Manila.
The last time I flew was Northwestern, so I don't think they go to. I'm not sure, but they don't go to the Philippines, do they?
Yeah. Who?
Northwestern.
They used to.
Yeah.
I don't even think Northwestern is around anymore.
That's what I said. The last time I flew, that's how long it's been since I flew.
Yeah, I used to fly Northwest also. Northwestern.
I flew from. I drove over to Erie, Pennsylvania. Flew from Erie to Detroit, and Detroit to Beijing. And I was there for 3 weeks back in '99.
Right.
And we flew business class, and that was $753 round trip back then.
Right.
But we
I'm
bought
almost. You know what? I'm almost close. I'm almost close to where Nitban or to where Tim is. I'm very close to that. As you know, when we first came over, Minnie and I, we flew business class through Manila on Philippine Airlines to Thailand. And, it was very comfortable. I mean, it's very comfortable. Who wouldn't want to do it? But the problem really is it's gotten way more expensive.
Yeah.
I think for that business class tickets, man, me and I, we only spent something like $3,700 a piece.
Yeah, a piece.
But yeah, a piece. But those same tickets are $1,000 more. So you couldn't do it again. We can't afford to do it again.
Well, that's good to know, Tim. That Eva's starting to fly into Clark from Taipei, Taiwan. Well,
Well,
I've never been to Taipei, but I've been to Kaohsiung.
Nip Ben is a super saver anyway, so it's just not part of his. It's not part of his constitutional makeup, if you will, to spend that kind of dough on a business class flight.
When my mom came here,
Who came in?
here a year ago plus.
Yeah.
She flew not economy. She flew in the front of the plane. I'm like,
she flew first class.
Like $15,000 one way.
Ooh.
First class, man.
And then the way back, she lost a flight because I don't know what she was doing, and she had to book another flight. That's another $12,000. I'm like, stick me.
Well, you know, Crystals, Tim isn't revealing to you that he's now a multi-millionaire. Tim isn't revealing to you that he became a peso millionaire within the last few months. He earned it though. See, he earned it. So he don't want to be out having to grow his groceries. You know, why do that? I mean, he already has his own driver and such. Why would he go out there and get his hands dirty?
Pay his driver to do it.
He pay his driver to do it, exactly. Hey, Tim. Hey. I'm sure.
I'm gonna tell you the truth, Tim. If I could afford it, it would be first class all the way, baby, or business.
Yeah,
class.
Ava is just starting to fly into Clark, and that really is a game changer, because prior to the calamity, the global calamity event in the Philippines, planes were coming and going out of Clark from all over the world, and then they stopped. And I don't know if I think that you'll remember I talked about it in the live stream how things got so good at one time that I came into the Philippines from Thailand, and I was able to make a complete circle around the Philippines, going from north to south by coming into Taiwan to Taipei. I mean, Thailand to Taipei. So I went Bangkok to Taipei, Taipei to Clark, Clark to Cebu, Cebu to Davao, Davao to Cebu, and I made a complete loop coming back to Manila, and then catching a turboprop from Manila back to Clark. And I challenge anybody to try and do that today. It is impossible. It cannot be done. It cannot be done. And so at one time, of course, you had a lot more competing airlines at the time. So I didn't take just one carrier for that whole route. I was changing carriers, you know, wherever I got the best deal is where I was bouncing around. The point being that it was available for you to do that. You could move around the country that easily. And now you can't. Now it's back to like olden days, just about. So I hope they add in. I hope they take advantage of Clark and Clark's location, even though they're going to have to be meandering in there, trying to avoid parking into a B-52 by accident. Well, little military joke there that went over like a lead balloon. Anyway.
Hello, Sir Luke.
Yeah, there'll be a few military aircraft on the tarmac, but there were back then when I took that.
Well, they might even make if they got the room, they might even make the runways bigger. Because look how long it's been, so they may need bigger runways.
Well, they're still the same size as far as I know.
I'm saying that may be something that they will do after they come in.
And Clark Field goes on forever. I mean, Clark, it's amazing. I mean, Clark, when you land at Clark, you can come halfway over the airfield, wave as you're passing by, as you're flying by, and then he could drop it down wherever he wants. I mean, it's just an amazing runway. It is amazing.
I've never
You
been to
want to
Clark.
call it the sport.
Yeah, that's why they could bring in the largest planes in the world, the Airbus 380, the B-52s. You know, they could bring whatever the C-130s. They could bring whatever aircraft they want into
I
Clark.
like the A380s.
One time, Jack, I had the opportunity. One time, I had a big smile on my face. I was going to LAX, and I'm coming to Manila, and they said I was going to be flying the Airbus 380. Get to the airport, and they changed planes. I got to the airport, and they changed planes, and so here I was, the biggest letdown of my entire life, where I was going to be on a 380 and get to experience that smooth sailing across the sky like you're floating on a cloud. And I end up on a 777, something like that.
I ended
Horrible
up
experience.
on the way here from, I don't know if it was LAX or Detroit, but it was the A380, and it was like not even a quarter way full. Going to Hong Kong. Wait, I don't know. South Korea.
Mm-hmm.
It was like less than a quarter full, and there's like I got a window seat, and this guy sitting next to me, and there's another empty seat next to him. Just brilliant by in this plane. I'm like trying to hint. I'm like, go find yourself a row, so I can lay down and sleep.
Well, now on Philippine Airline, if the plane ain't full, they will let you bid for the seats that are next to you. They'll let you bid to see if you can get. They'll even let you bid for business class if it's not full.
I'll pay for it. You got leg room, but next time when I go back home in 2-3 months, or hopefully, I'm gonna get the exit row seat because you got all the leg room you want.
Right.
Without paying for business class.
Yeah, I mean, I say, yeah, of course, I've heard great things about EVA, the green plane. I've heard great things about premium economy too. So I've flown plenty of times on the green plane. I think I still have frequent flyer miles hanging out there. Not very many, maybe 2,000 or 3,000. But I mean, it amazes me how they utilize that aircraft, how half of it's cargo and then half of it is passenger service. I mean, it's amazing.
I have a crap ton of freaking flyer miles.
You got to burn them up. I'm going to burn, Minnie and I, we're going to burn ours up on Philippine Airline or their partner airline. We also have, unfortunately, I'm embarrassed to say, that we also have a buttload of airline miles for American Airlines. And once I burn those up, that'll be the end of them for me. As long
as you didn't say United.
I've flown United. I've flown America.
They're all the same. They're all garbage.
Well, when I was in the Navy, I flew what I could. You're a poor boy, and you're going from San Diego to Indiana, or you're going from Indiana to maybe Washington
Southwest.
State.
You go Southwest now.
Southwest wasn't even thought of.
But
we're talking about the 70s when I was flying a lot.
Every 1,000 miles, you'll have to drop off and pick up a few extra passengers. That's all.
Like I said,
I'll tell you where I like. Yeah, exactly. Just like a Jeep. Hey, United Airlines. I'll tell you what I liked about United. They used to fly one of those small Canadian jets into that airfield north of San Diego. Carlsbad, right? What is it? Carlsbad?
I think Carlsbad's up there.
Yeah, and so you have that little aviation airport, and the commercial airliner to serve it was United. And so they used to fly they used to fly a little Canadian jet in there. That one that was on that FBI show that they used to fly all over the place. And I got to tell you, that was a fun ride down the coast. Whenever you're going from Sacramento and you're going down to San Diego, you go via Carlsbad. And then you just jump on the train. What's the train called that runs down the coast? The Coastliner. You just jump on the Coastliner. The bus will pick you up at that airport. They'll take you to the Coastliner, and then you take the Coastliner all the way down to San Diego.
Yeah.
So you said, fly in that bad boy. We'd be going down the coast underneath us, looking at that beautiful ocean water, because they'd go out there in the coast and they'd be like, ooh, 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 ooh. And they'd be giving you the play-by-play. Oh, we're passing Santa Monica Pier. We're passing. They'd be giving you the play-by-play as there's Santa Barbara and there's Hearst Castle down there. They'd be giving you a tour. These pilots loved it. And then they discontinued it. They discontinued that.
Yeah. Well, like I said, when I was flying, I would fly from Terre Haute, usually to Indianapolis or occasionally O'Hare. But then from Indianapolis, I usually go to O'Hare. But I might go to Dallas. I might go to Denver. I might go all the way through. You just didn't know.
Right.
And, but now from Indianapolis or Chicago, you took a prop, jet props.
Mm-hmm.
11 passenger plane. You want to talk about fun? That's the only time I was ever afraid flying was on those props with only 11 passengers.
I scared myself. You know what that means, Larry? That's the end of the show. Folks, I had so much fun today. I'm going to go and have some more fun because it's, that way, my birthday. That picture right there is when I was 40-some years old. That's where that picture came from. Right behind you.
50 years ago?
It was a long time. It was a long time ago.
That's when he's riding.
Folks, I'm going to go enjoy the rest of my day. The Duncan, the DD is calling. Thanks, everybody, for being here. Larry, take us out of this live with your words of wisdom.
All right, everybody, remember, be nice to each other. Take care of yourselves. Stay safe and stay strong and healthy. And plus, as always, try to have fun. Bye.
Bye, everybody. Michelle, your donut and coffee is on the way to your GCash account. We'll see everybody on the next live.